Feel it right. Feel that I am misunderstood. Memories. Let's talk about the memories. Cause we have no memories. Cause it's raining on our memories. Woo-hoo. Yeah.
This is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
I heard that song the other day in the gym. I was just like, I mean, it was just like this big 90s rock, 90s kind of hip hop thing, and it was great.
Oh yeah, I on my Spotify list, I have like loads of just like a whole section of just 90s playlists, different from 90s alternative rock, 90s hip hop, 90s pop, 90s love singles, whatever you name it. Like there's just a big section of my Spotify playlist, but it's just all 90s music. That's where I grew up, the age I grew up. So a lot of the music I listen to spawned from the 90s people.
Yeah.
Everything from Shania Twain to Third Eye Blind to Snoop Dogg and Dre and Tupac and Biggie and TLC to Backstreet. That's what I grew up on.
So many. I know I was, what was it? A friend of mine was over at the house yesterday. We were playing board games. And it was one of those things, he had made a comment about seeing Jack Black. And it's sitting there and it's like, thinking about it, it's like...
Tenacious D, Jack Black?
Yeah. And it's thinking about it, it's like, man. Because you think about people like, he first came on the scene, when he first came on the scene, I know the first movie I saw him in, and he was a supporting character, was The Jackal. And then there was, some of his other, like School of Rock and some of those other things.
School of Rock, the earliest movie I remember him in, which I have on DVD, is Orange County. He played but like the stepbrother, or not stepbrother, but the brother.
I think High Fidelity was one of the ones I first saw. Was another one of those. But I didn't watch Orange County, actually.
Yeah.
I'd seen it, but something about it just never piqued my interest enough to where I wanted to sit down and watch it.
Oh yeah, it's just one that I picked up, enjoyed it for what it is, and had a good time. Back when I watched it, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, hi everybody. Heidi ho.
I'm just doing the live posts here, posted it on all the places and all the things.
Oh yeah, so welcome everybody to another fun-filled, rambling on kind of geekdom, nerdom, whatever you want to call it, on Scuba and The RY with this guy.
Sakura, hi. Q, hi. How you guys doing tonight?
How's everybody?
Can you believe it, Rye? This is episode 98, buddy.
We're on 98, so we're only a few from 100.
Yeah, if things go all right, in 2 weeks, we'll be up doing episode 100, and I believe that's a milestone somewhere, according to some metric somewhere, that, we have been chugging along at this for 100 episodes.
100 episodes, so that's definitely, I think, a milestone.
Yeah. I don't know if we should do anything special, or could we do anything special? I don't know. I think with what happened a month or so ago, it's like I kind of have to rebuild some relationships and stuff, but I'm not sure what we could do if even worry about it, or let's just keep chugging along as we find ourselves and find it and see where we go from there.
Chill on the day.
Hell,
we can come up with some interesting lists. Whenever a holiday or something comes around, we come up with fun lists to talk about.
I think it'd be nice to do something cool. Yeah. Maybe do a give. Probably do a give. I think I definitely want to give away some of the stuff I've got in the wings here for this. So maybe you could do that if it's not too much.
Yeah, giveaways, takeaways, dance-aways, hey ways, every kind of ways.
Going on a jungle cruise.
Cruising down the river with the magic and the familiar, which we will go into later.
Yeah, definitely talking about that. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Jungle Cruise with Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt. We're going to be chatting about the latest court case with Scarlett Johansson and Disney, in case you hadn't heard about that, and not so much getting into the nitty gritty about the court case itself, to let the lawyers handle that.
Yeah.
We're going to be theorizing on more or less the implications on more of this post-COVID world, and all of that, where it's how is it going to affect the entertainment industry with these people who make these ridiculous sums of money.
Lots of back channels and residuals are going to change. And we believe, or at least I believe, and some other people believe, that this is going to change, particularly from this case, or have an influence and impact of some sorts.
Yeah, Joan will always be the Rock. Did you know? Did you know the actual one of the things he did was he actually one of the companies that worked on this, because he was also executive producer on Jungle Cruise, but he also runs the production company that made Jungle Cruise. So
really,
yeah, he leveraged when he first started making that jump. He leveraged and made a production company to make the kind of films, and he wanted to make films that people would want, that were fun for all ages. They may not be the most critically whatever.
Oh yeah,
but they meet the formula for making money.
Yep, he does branch out into a lot of different things. You know, when he first started his movie career, he did a lot of those Disney family films like The Tooth Fairy and The Game Plan, and then after he did his role in Fast 5, he started to branch out into more action and dramas. So,
well, I mean, his comedic chops would get smart. I mean, we know that his first cameo in The Mummy Returns was not the greatest cameo.
That was mostly a CGI creation.
But then there was the follow-up, which was The Scorpion King, and then from there, doing a bunch of different roles. Some did well, some not.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, he is definitely a powerhouse, and
he makes the money.
It was one of those things when he first saw Pirates, he's like, I want to do a film like Pirates.
Yep.
And as I was saying, Jungle Book had been on the table to be made when they first did Pirates of the Caribbean. So there's a way back.
Yep. Jungle Cruise. Jumanji gets my approval, Q said. It's like, yep, that was a sleeper hit. Like, everybody thought that you could not make another Jumanji, and the first one to come out the gate, and it was a lot of people liked it.
It was fun. It was a fun film, and I
enjoyed
love the nods back to the original Jumanji, and I like how instead, in a way, it was like a subtle sequel.
Yeah, it was
to the first film.
It was in a way, because spoiler, in the Welcome to the Jungle, you find the hut where Robin Williams' character was staying. Because if you remember the original, Robin Williams' character got sucked into the game for 20 years. Might be wrong on that.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah. Either way, enough where he could build himself a resident. He grew up through adolescence into adulthood. And it was, and it was Alan Parrish. And I love how the new ones were like, who's Alan Parrish? It's like, we know who Alan Parrish was.
Yes. Yeah, but it was a great nod. And, it was a great return to that game. But hey, The Rock can do it.
Oh, yeah, The Rock could totally do it. But before we get too much further, let's go through and, do those things like, hey, if you're enjoying this, please be sure to hit the like button here on YouTube. If you're new here, hit the subscribe.
Like.
Yeah.
I was pointing.
I'm just remembering I need. Yeah, see? That.
Or
hit
that.
The like.
That right there.
Hit the subscribe. Hit the little bell so you can be notified when more videos come out. Also, shout out and a thank you to Sirenscape. The soundtrack we're listening to tonight is actually the Tropical Jungle Mix on Sirenscape's website, their online player. So go to sirenscape.com. Check out all the various soundboards and musics that they have to make your tabletop experience more enjoyable. Or, background music for podcasts when you want to hang out.
Just hang and chill, people. Hang and chill.
So check them out, sirenscape.com. That's the main things. Of course, thank you to all of you who are watching this, whether you're watching it live with us right now or you're watching this at a later date. You're awesome, amazing human beings. Thank you for checking us out. If you're enjoying it, please share it out with through your social medias and whatnot, or just, hit the like, leave a comment. and all the things. And if you're a Patreon member, after we get done with this show, we're going to have our after show. It's already queued up, ready to go. It's over there on our Patreon site, scubastudio.com, our patreon.com/scuba studio.
Check it out, my friends.
Get that little bang command right there.
You get extra fun content, interesting content.
Oh, we hope it's interesting. I mean,
I think it's interesting.
If you're a Patreon member, it's exclusive stream right there where we do do Q&A and continue our chatting on stuff. It's typically spoiler filled for anything that we talk about here because we try to refrain from spoilers, all those things. Bills are paid, the lights are on. Let's get to it. Ryan, how was your week?
It's been good. Just last week was a little, slow down at work, but when you go weeks between trainings, it's more development, so it's slow down. Back into the training this weekend. It's going to be training classes for me until September, so training pretty much, the whole month of August. Other than that, mentally preparing because the school's about to start back up. August 28th is when fall semester starts up. Class is teaching college composition. Thursday nights, so not going to run into any troubles on the podcast days. And this month is going to be fun because hopefully go up and visit some wineries. Got an anime convention. Might hit up Water Country. That's what's planned for August. But this past weekend, just chill mostly. Workout, fun stuff, and hung out with a coworker on Sunday. But just mostly chill, riding. There's a show that not dropped on Netflix, but a show that I follow on Netflix called All American. It's a CW show, but they put season 3 up on Netflix this weekend, so I've been trying to catch up, get through that, and, finding more shows to add to my catalog to watch. But fun-filled stuff. Yesterday, I actually had to do, like, a quickie travel up to Maryland back. Dave the Rent's parents had to bring up their goodie bags of medicine to them, come back. So it's not that far of a trip. It's only like an hour and a half one way, so 3-4 hour drive.
Yeah, my dad's actually going to be heading out of town this weekend.
Okay.
Apparently it's his it's another one of those high school reunions. I'm trying to think. It's either I don't think it's the 20. I think it might be the 50, 40, 30, 40. It's one of the larger number ones.
It has to be 40-50 because I'm
thinking
I'm coming up on 20 myself.
I think it's 50th. Now I think about it, it's 50th. So he's heading out to do his 50th class reunion. So he's out for the weekend. I'll be taking a look at the project house. I think I'm going to be working on trimming the project house because we got a bunch of doors got to be replaced. So I get to dig out the tools and get back to doing trade work. Last couple of weekends, I've just been sweeping and cleaning. But hey,
that's fine.
It gets me moving. It gets me moving. So.
Oh yeah, that's always good. Keep you moving. Keep you going. Focus, my friend. All we have is the focus. What's ahead?
Yeah. So, what's ahead? All the fun things.
What fun is left to be? What's left to be is only fun, people. Only fun. But yeah, fun-filled August, winding days of summer. But there is one cool thing happening in August. Return to concerts for me because August 25th is the Alanis Morissette concert.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Alanis Morissette, and they're on the road with Garbage. So it is straight 90s alternative rock. So it's going to be fun.
Alanis Morissette is on the road with Garbage.
Yeah. Talk about blasts from the past.
I'd say a few. I'd say a few blasts on that.
Yep.
All right. I've talked about some of that stuff. I'm sure it'll come up in other things. Let's jump over and let's work on that review for Jungle Cruise.
Swinging through the jungles.
That's always fun.
All right. Another Scuba and the RY do the movies.
Oh, yeah.
You actually saw it twice, right?
Yes, I did. I actually, before we went and watched it Friday night, I went ahead and pre-ordered tickets so that me, my wife, and my daughter all were scheduled to go watch it at the local cinema cafe Saturday, and got a fairly early showing on Saturday. So, but to be fair, getting into this film, before we talked about this after the film, but when I sat down to watch this film, before we got through the first sequence of events in the film, I was already like, yep, I'm looking forward to watching this again the next morning, because this was just fun. So fun. And I did not find it hard to swallow, unlike a boa constrictor trying to eat 500 pounds at a sitting.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to eat, but hey, make it happen.
But man, anyway, so let's talk. This is an adaptation of yet another Disney ride, Jungle Cruise, which is one of the more recognizable rides at Disney. Fun fact, it's actually Dwayne Johnson's favorite ride at Disney.
Did not know that. Thank you.
It's interesting. And one of the promos for this is him, Emily Blunt, and the I can't even remember his name, the actor who played the brother.
His name is Jack Whitehall.
Jack Whitehall. The three of them went to Disney, and Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson actually guested as the narrators for the cruise, while Whitman was in the back feeding them the lines. And apparently he couldn't stay on script then either.
Interesting bits. I love it.
Yeah. So this is kind of another one of those things. Take a ride. We tell this kind of fantastical story, and this is got to be one of the funner rides I've seen as far as in a film, because it's just so much of it just kind of pulls you in and you kind of ride along with it. Woo! It's got some fantastical elements, which, you know, we could see, this could have gone so horribly wrong.
It could have.
But it didn't, and it was a lot of fun and just a lot of really kind of slapstick. They kind of set this as, again, kind of a period piece, but this one's kind of set in like right at the beginning of World War One.
Yep, known as the Great War at that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Emily Blunt's character wants to go and find this mystical, magical plant that can cure any illness and save you and bring it back for science.
Yes, sir.
So, right, take it away. Tell us your review and what you thought. What tell us your review of it.
All right, just to summarize, Emily Blunt plays a character by the name of Lily Hoffman, and like Scuba says, she's learns about the truth of a folklore item. She learns that there's this tree in the Amazon that supposedly the petals can heal any sickness. So what she does, she travels to the Amazon and teams up with Frank the Skipper, who's played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, with her brother, and they travel into the Amazon to seek out this plant that will change the world of science and medicine for years and millennia to come. So the foundation of this film is rooted in a basic adventure tale. So from the get-go, you get your general character introductions, you get your central MacGuffin, which is that petal / tree, and the journey. So the first act is you get introduced to the characters, you get introduced to Lily Hoffman. She's very much a inquisitive mind that is seeking the truth. She loves the science, the medicines and stuff, and that drives her to go there. Frank the Skipper is more of a wisecracking con artist with a secluded past. Through his introduction, you find out why he is a con artist. And then through some scenes of physical humor and Foley banter, those two team up with the brother, and they travel along the Amazon. It's a very simple story. It has very familiar adventure tropes, but like Scuba said, it's very fun and very energetic. What makes this film great is the character dynamic between the two, between Lily and Frank. Their banter and their wisecracking back and forth actually elevates the film above the very basic natures of the adventure and engrosses you into the world, because as they travel through the Amazon and they go from different scenes and scenarios, everything that is very common gets leveled out with the fun, the action, the humor. It lifts it above. It makes you feel and believe as if you're on the journey with them, and it builds upon great character moments between the two, as well as once they come across certain items in the certain areas in the Amazon, they come across certain fixtures, certain groups of people. it starts to add more dynamics to the relationship and actually builds upon that adventure theme. What say you, Scoob, from there? Once they introduce those latter parts in the film.
I think it's just totally worth watching because there are some elements in here that are just crazy, fun elements.
Yep.
Like
trying not to reveal too much.
Yeah,
at least for me.
Reveal too much, but
it's more fun when you reveal the truths.
I have to say one of my favorite elements is the conquistadors.
Yes.
When they finally come out, and even with them, and when we got done watching this film, one of the two things that came to mind to me when I watched this.
Okay.
It was Pirates of the Caribbean, that Black Pearl, the first one, with the one that's probably arguably the best of the franchise.
Yep.
And Romancing the Stone.
Okay.
From back in the 80s. I got that Romancing the Stone kind of vibe. This felt like a rom-com kind of adventure film.
It was a blending of the two.
Yeah, and it's got some Indiana Jones vibe to it, but more the Romancing the Stone. Yeah. And again, with the Pirates of the Caribbean, it had some fantastical elements. And whereas Pirates was more on the darker side, like the horror side, this one isn't as dark. It's a lot more fun. Yep.
It was as things grow dire and you get those like villainy elements, even within that very basic adventure trope, it does still play to the colorful, the liveliness of the adventure. So even if there is a threat, it's not as deep and darkly. It still predicates itself within the same tone that's been going across from the first to second act. So you're able to believe the fantastical. They don't force it to make it work. It is explained, even if it feels heavy-handed at times. It is worth the story elements that are introduced and how everything ties together. So even when you have the typical race against time motif, once you hit into the third act, it still melds the visual prowess within the characters' backstories to make something even more genuine than what it seems.
And it had some really good surprises, some really good reveals.
Oh yeah,
and
I love the reveals. I didn't see them coming. At least one of them I didn't see coming.
No, this was a lot of fun. Definitely go watch this. Ry, what'd you give it on the scale?
Overall, I think this is a very simple adventure tale, but it provides a joyful ride. I think it's a good, fun family time at the theaters for the right price. I gave it 3 out of 5.
I'm solid with the 3.5 out of 5. This is a perfect kind of formula for a summer film.
Yep.
It's appealing to all audiences. It's got moments that are funny. It's got moments that'll kind of have you on the edge of your seat. And it's got and by far one of the best elements is the on-screen chemistry of the various groups.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying this is like we have the on-screen chemistry between Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson, and how the back and forth with them was hilarious.
It's hilarious.
And when the conquistadors make their appearance, because they're part of this film, and even their dynamic is quite endearing in the terms of it's like they kind of banter, and it feels like some real groups. It's not because sometimes you have an element. It's like, oh, this is supposed to be our big bad evil guy,
but there's more.
But there's no depth to the big bad evil guy, and it can be argued there isn't a lot of depth here.
No,
however,
very standard.
However, the way they interact,
still fun.
It feels like there was some thought given into their interaction. So definitely a lot of fun. Go check it out. Like I said, I watched it back to back.
Yep.
And I found it just as enjoyable on the second viewing as I did on the first viewing. And you know what? If you're a fan of puns, this is great, because when the puns started flying, I was thinking about a friend of mine or a couple friends of mine that are in the online space where they make puns back and forth, and it's like, yeah, this is immediately thought of them where it's just like, oh, because
I think
what was your favorite pun?
My favorite pun was the one about the cross-eyed girlfriend. And I'll leave it at that, because if you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Best puns ever in this movie. By far. I've never There's been times when I've seen puns happen, and there'd be like 2 or 3 I liked, and then the rest not. It's like every single one nailed.
I mean, the delivery was good.
Yeah, and that
The delivery was great.
That's a testament to Dwayne Johnson's comedic chops. He has layers, people. He has layers, more than muscles.
So yeah, go check this out. A lot of fun. This weekend we got what? Suicide Squad on deck?
The Suicide Squad. Yep, got my tickets for Friday. Might sneak in a second movie. I don't know. And either streaming or in the theaters. But at least the Suicide Squad's coming up this weekend, and next weekend's Free Guy. So Suicide Squad, Free Guy, Candyman. Those are the 3 movies to look forward to at least this month so far.
Yeah, I may pass on Candyman. I think it's a great one. I'm just not a big horror movie fan.
You think Marie would want to go? I know she likes horror movies.
Yeah, her and Skittles might be interested.
Hey, I'll need a.
Sorry, my eye seems to be itching.
I'll need a partner because not a lot of people I know like horror films, so I
might do it just to make sure we have something to talk about.
Hey,
but
you want to join me?
Sound off in the chat, or if you're watching this afterwards, leave a comment. Should I go watch it or not?
Suggest more movies you're looking forward to.
Horror movie phobia. Yeah.
If there's more movies that I'm not thinking about that are dropping this month, send it my way. Oh wait, I know a movie that's coming out this month. Reminisce, the Hugh Jackman, Forget the Lady. But,
I have no idea. I know very little about the film. I'm actually
I've seen the trailers.
Yeah.
So Reminisce. All I know,
I'm looking forward to mid-August when a Netflix animated show comes out, and that is a Monster Hunter anime that's coming out on Netflix. That should be interesting. It's kind of a place where it's like a kid and some hunters try to save a town from a migration of monsters. So this should be good to see another element of the franchise.
Of animated series, What If comes out this month.
Oh, that's right. The Marvel What Ifs.
Yeah. So that's another one to look forward to. There are some other movies I'm looking forward to, but I'm focusing just on August. So just August, people.
Well, speaking of, I did watch an animated film over the weekend.
What did you watch?
I watched the Sword Art Online movie. What's it called?
Is it Ordinal Scale?
Yeah, Ordinal Scale.
Okay.
I watched that. I also watched season 4, so caught up on my Sword Art. I was quite
had
happy.
A good conversation about that before the movie.
It was so much fun.
Season 4 of Sword Art.
Season 4, it's like they got you. It's like if you've been following that franchise and you watch season 4, there are moments where it's just like reveal after reveal and cliffhanger after cliffhanger, and at some points you're just like, wow.
Brings everything full circle.
Oh yeah, it's great. I can't wait to see the next arc they're gonna do. And Ordinal Scale was good because it helped because there are references in season 4 and season 3, season 4 of Sword Art Online that reference Ordinal Scale and the past stuff. So it's like missed that on the first one, but now because I watched it out of order, I caught the references. I saw where the references played out, and I thought it was really good.
Oh yeah. Anime for me, I got lists looking forward to. Keeping Up with My Hero. Another one I watched came back called Standing on a Million Lives. It's a pseudo game, kind of trapped in a game kind of anime like all the others. And I watched another one, 86, which was good. And looking forward to the fall season of anime because there's a lot of stuff coming there.
A lot of stuff on Netflix right now. Have you checked out the new He-Man rendition?
I did watch all 5 episodes.
What did you think of it? Because my opinion on it's starting to shift a little bit.
Yeah. This is my opinion comes from someone who's not a diehard fan. I know the material. I know the original. Because it's a sequel to the original. I liked it. I liked how they gave other characters depth. I liked how they didn't just thrust in just typical cliches and actually develop the world and the characters. And I love the cliffhanger because it's just interesting to see what is going to happen in part 2.
Yeah, I want to see part 2.
Because I watched an interview from Kevin Smith, and he was talking about how part 2 literally picks up right at the end of part 1, and it's going to focus on the other female character, on the bad side.
Evil End.
Yeah, it's you know how the first focused on the one character
Tila.
Tila. The second part is actually going to focus on Evil Lyn.
Yeah,
So,
I'm curious. I've seen some pretty toxic hate.
yeah, it seems like people are it goes back to what people wanted to not getting what they wanted, so they think it's bad. From what I seems,
There
it's
seem
like
to be a few more elements to that, but
I'm
gonna
not
wait
a
and
fan,
see.
so I come in like with blind eyes watching the
I
series, and I
couldn't
liked
I
it.
couldn't tell I couldn't tell you much about the
Yeah,
original. I know it seems cool. If you want to watch the original, there's actually a YouTube channel. I think it's there. I think it's Hasbro's YouTube channel has all of the original episodes of He-Man up so you can watch. And then there's this. So it's like, gonna have to wait and see. I know they're kind of serialized for their end of the each week had a moral and all that
yeah,
because that's how cartoons were, and it was a cartoon to sell toys.
yeah.
So those are some fantasticals, but there was some interesting, and we can talk about that later, like on
Yeah.
the after show maybe. You know what? There's some definite toxicity
You're
on
gonna have
that.
to bring it up for me because I don't know all of it. I know about fan toxicity. I've seen it in other fan spheres. So yeah,
But anyways. So what else we got on the docket for tonight? Let's see.
you've been playing a flight simulator game.
Yes, I have been playing Microsoft Flight Sim and absolutely loving it.
You have almost turned me around to downloading it, especially what you told me right before we went on.
All right, so
Ah,
if you
that
haven't
was
checked
good.
it out, Microsoft Flight Sim is on Game Pass now. So you don't have to buy it. If you have a Game Pass membership, you can play it on your Xbox Series X, Series S, or Windows PC with Game Pass. I actually played it on PC and I played it on the Xbox on my Xbox Series S. And initially, it was right off the bat. There's some areas you can just kind of free flight and check out four or five locations: Brazil, or Rio de Janeiro, the Giza Plateau, Mount Everest, and I think there was another one. I know there's one I want to do, which is Yosemite, but I have to pay for that as an add-on because microtransactions are a thing.
They are a thing today, people. They
But
are a
base
thing.
game wise, there's an option where you can learn how to fly, where they kind of walk through all the mechanics. And of course, I'm doing this on a controller. I don't have a flight rig set up or anything like that. I haven't done a lot of flight sims since years and years ago when I tried some Apache flight sims for helicopters. But checking this out, and then there's so you can go through the training and kind of get an understanding of how the plane works, how to fly. There's a test I'm trying to do right now that on a controller is for me is absolutely grueling. It's one of those I have to take my Cessna and I have to go from traveling north to traveling south and elevating from 5,500 feet to 6,000 feet. So the test is I have to turn and increase my elevation at the same time. And I have to do it without tipping the plane beyond 20 degrees into the turn, as well as continuing to accelerate and adjusting the throttle to make sure I can, because with Cessnas you have to give it more throttle so that it can climb effectively. And oddly enough, it's actually quite technical to try and do on a controller, which I was getting frustrated. To be honest, I got so frustrated that after I failed it like 5 times in a row, I just said screw it and nosedived into the ground because I was just like, I'm done. I figured that was a lot easier than like throwing the controller across the room. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
it's an expensive controller to throw. So
$50, $60 a controller. Isn't like back in the days like the Nintendo where throw that controller off, pick it back up and it works. Unless you're like one of those people who throws it into a brick wall, but regardless.
experience. Uh-huh. Yeah.
But then there's another flight mode where you can kind of make a flight plan and fly from one place to another. I heard some thoughts on this and I figured I'd check it out. Now, when you buy the game, they did the developer spent time developing certain airfields, right? And but there's another thing where they taking satellite imaging, and you can load current satellite images into the world and play off of that. And then there's a lot of smaller airfields that they didn't put a lot of time into developing, but there is some pretty decent renderings of those airfields. What I did is I went in to check this out just on a whim to see, and I was able to drill down and select an airfield near my house to take off from. And then I could pick any other airfield. Now, as you zoom in, you get into these areas. Now, when I zoomed in, it's like I didn't realize there was like 6 or 8 airfields near where I live. There's the big one, which is Norfolk International.
Yep.
Then then I could choose to take off from the executive airfield near Oceana, the executive airfield in Suffolk, the executive airfield here in Chesapeake, Ventures Airfield. I mean, there's several of them I could do that. And I'm, you know, you look at these on the map, you can find them. But when you select that as your takeoff point, it literally puts you on the runway and you take off, and you can hear ATC kind of walk through all of the commands. And then it's like you could pick like one of the flights I was planning to do, but I could do it real time or I can fast forward. But real time, it was a flight I was attempting to fly from Norfolk International to Yuma, Arizona, where I used to live, and just it literally plotted it. And I have to kind of work out how the assistant works, but you could listen to ATC and it tells you, all right, passing you off from area to area, make sure you're on this heading at this altitude while you're transitioning through. Now, of course, my first flight, I tried to do something small, like go from here to North Carolina just for giggles.
Yeah.
But one of the things I realized as I took off and I was flying toward one of the airfields I pass every day on my commute to work, I was like, I know this. Let me try and fly over my house. And it's like you can see the neighborhood layouts, you can see the roads. So it's like getting down low enough, you start to lose resolution. But the city layout based on actual satellite imaging, like if you're looking at Google Maps or one of those other things, was like, it sold me. I've actually been trying to figure out how to build a flight rig so that I could sit there with like the actual joysticks and stuff to fly this, because it's like I really want to check this out. I really want to invest more time in flying just to fly from one to the other. And the fact that you could learn how to control the plane. I watched IGN's review, and one of the things is this is the amount of detail they put into this. You could download the actual book for certain systems in the plane to read up how it works in like for the real life manual, and then you could take that into the game and then adjust it in game. They've copied it over that much.
It's pretty detailed, that game. This game is pretty detailed from what I hear.
I was just like, whoa. Now, of course, you know, I have unlimited fuel and everything else, so thinking about taking Norfolk International and taking off in a little Cessna, because that's the only plane I got in my hangar right now, and then flying a little Cessna across the country. It's like probably not really practical, but
hey, it's all you can do right now.
Yeah, so I'm so enjoying it. What games have you been playing?
What games have I been playing?
Yeah, I've been playing something. I mean,
Scarlet Nexus. That's the only game I'm playing right now.
So what's up with that one?
So I'm almost near the end of Kasane's story. You know, because they do it in parts, and there's 12 parts for each character. It's getting really deep. I've leveled up my character pretty deep, so doing a lot of the action and RPG combats is really intense. But what's really cool is that I had an aha moment working through one of the parts or its phases, because you have to go to one of the phases. You have to go meet. You have to go in the past, and you have to meet a certain person's mother. And I'm not gonna go too much to spoil it if anybody's listening and playing the game, but there I had an aha moment where the very specific detail that you do in this phase has an effect on another character with a conversation you had like 5 phases back. So the intricate story detail that is in this game is very fun and lively. And in watching yourself, you're like developing relationships with all these characters, which not only is actually deepening the story and the world, it actually helps you level up your character, because when you build relationships with certain characters, you move up these tiers on their powers you can use. So when you're fighting in the game, you can use all the different characters' powers along with yours. So the higher tier it is, the more synchronous you can do their powers. Because on the right button you can use the main powers, but the left button trigger, it adds even a heavy power on top of that. And then once you level up, you can sync multiple powers at once, so you can get really OP at the same time. So
Curious.
the only thing is that the one thing is the enemy types aren't as varied, but they do get more varied the further you get in the game. But there is one stage that I was playing not in one of the past phases that got me irritated to that point where, you know, you have that feeling you want to throw the controller, but in the back of my head it's like $60. So I did not. I just took a breath and did it again. And it's very much you got to be really quick and snappy. If not, because the way it works is like if you die in certain levels, there's not like you start there. No, you got to go all the way back in one certain level.
Yeah, I think that's one of the criticisms of like Returnal, where if you're trying to play.
Yeah, but it was just that one stage. But overall, the game is great. So once I get done with her story, I'm gonna go work through the guy's story. Then also I'm gonna start playing. I told you I downloaded that game Greedfall from Game Pass, so I'm gonna start playing that and Hades when it's available.
Nice. All right, so we got some. We've been sitting there chatting for a bit. We haven't even gotten into a couple of our bigger topics. Got a little bit. They were supposed to have challenge accepted on Saturday, but that didn't quite work out as planned. Full disclosure, I was actually feeling pretty bad and exhausted. I didn't feel I had the energy to try and run a live stream for the game, but what I decided to do instead was get the players on a call, and we decided to talk through the downtime, because when we left off, it was going to be 3 weeks in-game downtime before picking back up for the next leg of the adventure, which is the final enemy. Now, in-game time, when I preface this, for my world, Kofin, I decided to model it after the calendar that's in D&D traditional. Now, and this, which is different than our traditional weeks when we think of them.
Okay.
When we think of a week, we're thinking 7 days with 5 days working, 2 days off. Well, in Kofin and in D&D, it's actually a week is 10 days, with the standard work week being 5. So you essentially have 5 days you would work your regular job, and then you have a 5-day weekend. Obviously, we're in the wrong calendar.
I'm here, maybe here. I don't know where, people.
But downtime is an essential thing for players in game.
Yeah, it is.
You can't always go adventure to adventure to adventure. You need some time to take a break. And it's good to kind of mix that in there, because just like with anything else, is like you do the job and then you need some time to kind of take a breath. Because if you've been collecting all this loot and having no time to spend it, you're going to run out of being able to carry your loot, and you're going to run out of, some of the upkeep you need to have if you play that kind of game. Now, some people would play it where there is no time spent on upkeep. It's just poof, magic. You've got it all.
Yeah.
But then there are certain things like training and whatever. So each of the players, I'd ask them, what is it you wanted to do in this time period in between? And so they had submitted their list of things they wanted to do, and some of it was really cool. So, and it was like trying to work through it, and finally I was like, all right, well, with everything that happened, I ended up taking a month off. It was okay. Let's get together. Let's kind of talk through this, refresh everybody's memory, and kind of work through these and get some questions. So I think that is I didn't record it. I thought I would, but I didn't hit the record button. That's on me. So this is the lost. It's the lost session, you could call it. But it was a really important thing where we talked through downtime. When we talked through, hey, this person wanted to perfect his disguise and go around and collect information on the seedier parts of town. Cool. This other person wanted to train to get a new feat. They did really, I had them do some dice rolls. They did really well, and they opted instead of, because when you train, it's supposed to have been 5 days training and then per work week. And it takes like 25 work weeks to learn a new skill. I allow you to train to learn feats. So there was that. And then, but the player wanted to, hey, my character is really dedicated to when they're doing something. Could they just skip the time off and just go back to back? So instead of it being in 10 days, 15 of those days training, 15 days doing other stuff, they opted for all 30 days to be training. And it's like, all right, let's do a couple of percent rolls. They rolled really well, so I went ahead and gave them the feat that they were looking for because they, as a character, they poured so much effort into it, which I thought, felt rewarding than being, that rule of cool, some would say, where it's like you kind of tweak and adjust based on interaction with the character and the other player because they're invested in their character.
Okay.
Because one of the worst things you can do when running a game is making your characters feel like you don't care.
Yeah. Gotta care.
And I hate it when I feel like I'm acting that way, but then and stuff like that. So it's, yes, the players matter, the player characters matter, and need to give them their stuff. And I felt it was a good thing to sit there and touch base and kind of walk through this. It ended up turning into a session because there was, as we were walking through certain interactions with certain merchants, it was that inspiration and improv to be like, oh, this merchant might be interested in this character for a particular item this character has. But the party doesn't realize the character really has the item. Yet, so it's like it added some more drama that will play out later in the sessions, I'm sure. But that's why we didn't actually have a broadcasted session. So that should be rectified going into this weekend. For challenge accepted this weekend, which we'll pick up like we planned. It's just now we can kind of recap the downtime and just move into the adventure and kind of work through the next stage of the adventure and see where we're sitting from there. So quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Hope y'all are enjoying that.
I enjoy the talky downtime.
I mean, it's a thing. You gotta do the things.
Yeah, you gotta do the thingy things. Let me get the thingy things done.
Save the drama for your llama.
Yeah, save it for the llama.
And
Yeah.
llamas can be rough, man.
Yeah, well, it's okay.
So we have a news thing we were going to talk about.
Let's save that for Patreon.
Save that for Patreon.
Yeah, I think we can rapid fire the odds and ends.
All right. So
they're not deep articles, but they're funny.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I haven't had a chance to read these. Oh yeah, I did see that one.
So we can just rapid fire.
Yeah. We'll discuss the Disney Scojo stuff on Patreon along with questions. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I think there's the surface conversation, but then there's the implications on what might happen with this later.
Yes, I think there's bigger implications, but for your paid subscribers.
Yep. So if you're a Patreon member, tune into the after show. You can check it out there, and we'll spend some time discussing that. But in the meantime, let's get through our odds and ends so we can, because we got about 10 minutes. Give or take to try and hit that mark.
Yeah, we can do it.
All right, so Ry, you put this list together. Where do you want to start, buddy?
Let's I put it in a way where the best is last. If you look at the titles, I think I did that perfectly. So let's just rapid fire with A, starting with the Metal band rocking to help Wendy's. So.
Okay, a metal band helping to rock Wendy's. All right, what's up with this?
Okay, this is an article that was reported on metalinjection.com. So a buddy who plays in a metal band called Vela La Vela wanted to help a buddy who works at a Wendy's, so he didn't have to work past closing time. So what they did is that they went ahead and started playing in the parking lot so that the Wendy's could close in time. So, and the article provides you with some TikTok clips of them jamming at the Wendy's to keep people occupied so they can close the store down on time.
Let's see if I can get you a little something for that.
So,
yeah. You see my face, you don't see Ry's.
That's fine. But yeah, as you can see,
there he is. Now he's here.
Oh, there you go.
So here's our odds. Here's this odds and end. So
when you see them, they're just jamming in Wendy's.
Ridiculous.
So to prevent people from going into the driveway so that they can close on time.
I mean, this is making me think of like Empire Records.
Yeah.
You know, at the climax of Empire Records where they're sitting there doing the thing that saved the store from closing. This one, it's like, no, we want to make sure our buddy can get off on time, so we're literally gonna stop traffic.
Just pull up there and just start jamming to some heavy metal. More like punk rock.
Actually, it's not that bad.
That's some good punk rock right there, people.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So, article number 2. Talk about, being shocked. This person was shocked with a controller. Put a link in the chat. As reported on hyperbeast.com, a freak accident happened to a gamer in Robertson County, Tennessee.
Your link's off, buddy.
Wait, it is?
Yeah, you got the metal injection link for the controller shocker.
Are you sure? Because I put 2 links in there.
There's
the metal injection, and then there's Tennessee right underneath it.
No, not on the one, no.
Oh, I put it in the chat. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna post it in there. There it is. Check your notes again.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, but I put it in the chat. So, as reported on the Hyperbeast, a freak accident happened on late Saturday, early Sunday, where somebody was struck by lightning through their game controller in Robertson County, Tennessee.
Seriously?
Yes. Quote, Assistant Director of County's Emergency Medical Center, Josh Rice, later confirmed that around 9:15 p.m. on the Saturday, medics responded to a call from a man in Greenbrier who said he was struck by a lightning. Come to find out, so lightning struck somewhere near the house, on the house, or nearby, which led to a surge and a shock through his wired controller.
That is wild.
So, yeah, that is funny. So, investing in wireless controllers does help. So, I'll pay the $60 if it'll keep me from being shocked. What say you, Scoob? Weird, crazy,
no,
odd?
I mean, it's believable. I mean, you can get electrocuted from a telephone line if you happen to be in the right place at the wrong time.
Yes.
So that doesn't strike me as being too crazy.
Okay.
But I am thinking I want to go on a trip. I mean, I want to go take a trip, and this seems like it's something that is just right up my alley.
Yeah.
For a few reasons, and let me see if
it.
you guys think the same thing.
So there is a tourist attraction. Where is it, Scoob?
Cyprus opens underwater sculpture museum in a bid to attract diving tourists.
Yes.
You know, I've heard about things like this where there's a couple of things where they would put up these sculptures you could look at, but then they were also there to try and encourage artificial reefs and to improve reef growth for some of the underwater ecosystems.
Yep.
And it's amazing how you see how time changes these things where they're almost unrecognizable. But I gotta say, this looks really kind of cool.
It's really fun. It makes me want to go travel. There's 130 sculptures down there. And the site of the museum is in a protected area in Pernia, southeast coast of Cyprus.
See, I like this whole thing where you got like the netted kind of thing with like the little concrete security cameras.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's an interesting touch.
So, yeah, they said, quote, visitors can dive or snorkel Musan for free, although reservations must be made ahead of time. So, you definitely can go in there, and it doesn't cost you anything. And fun fact, the sculptures are made of sea materials, including stones, rocks, and shells, and are meant to live harmoniously among marine life. So not only are you getting a fun of the arts, it is very protective and environmentally friendly.
All right, next up we got what?
Some perfume. Some
are you
zombie.
Are you kidding me?
Zombie infused perfumes.
Really?
Theme perfumes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so this is one of those Resident Evil's turning 25.
Yeah, 25 years.
And so they want to produce some perfume themed by the game?
Yes. So to celebrate the 25th anniversary, as reported on CBR.com, they're featuring a fragrance line inspired by Chris Redfield, Leon Kennedy, and Jill Valentine, fan favorite heroes from the games throughout the series.
Wow.
But if you want to get this line of fragrances, you can only purchase it in the Japanese Capcom store in Japan for 6,380 yen, translates into $58 at the time of the writing.
Fair. And our last article...
unexpected jewel thief. Our favorites, or some people's favorite action hero, Jean-Claude Van Damme,
inadvertently assist French jewel thief in his escape.
Yes.
Really?
So,
is this one of those? It's like you try to be a good Samaritan, but you ended up letting the bad guy get away?
No. So what happened is, just to summarize the article, Van Damme caused some commotions in the streets of Paris, which inadvertently helped a jewel thief steal jewelry from a high-end store called Chamat near Champs-Élysées in broad daylight, and stole anywhere between 2.4 and 3.5 million worth of jewelry. So apparently, the funny fact about this, Van Damme, quote, was just down the street visiting his local optometrist at the exact same time this thievery was taking place. So what happened is everybody went to Van Damme, so the guy had a free way to getting out the jewelry.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And funny.
Yeah, it's definitely funny.
But not to worry, surveillance caught the guy, so crime does pay, in a way, with some kicks. So, and there you have it, rapid fire, and still under the hour mark.
Yeah, we are.
So,
alrighty, so thank you very much for sticking around to the end. You guys are awesome and amazing. Feel free to leave a comment below, or if you're watching this, obviously if you're watching this at a later time, feel free to leave a comment. Tell us which one of these stories you thought was just absolutely crazy, and what do you think? And would you be one of those people who takes an opportunity when it presents itself?
I'm
not encouraging any crime, but
not
I gotta say that was one of those things. It's like, this is just dumb luck.
Yeah, that is just very coincidental, but you're in a city with a lot of cameras everywhere. So maybe not in Paris. Maybe in a town near you?
Yeah. Again, a thank you to Sirenscape. Check out Sirenscape.com.
Thank you.
I spelled that right. Sirenscape.com for the soundboards and background musics. Thank you very much. They've been a great supporter of what we're doing. Shout out to everyone in the chat. You guys are awesome and amazing. Thank you for sticking around and coming back and hanging out with us week to week. Thank you to Rye for coming over, spending another Tuesday evening
Namaste.
as we talk about all these kind of weird shenanigan things.
Yes.
And if you want to support the show, one of the best ways is hitting that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification, be notified when future videos come out. And if you want to do more, head over to patreon.com/scuba studio, become a patron, get access to some exclusive things. One of them being our after show, which is
after show
live streamed exclusively for Patreon. So
for you that are subscribed.
So in just a couple minutes, we'll be rolling over there. So we'll look forward to seeing you there, and we'll continue our conversation. Other things, have fun, love each other, stay safe, do all those things that are expected, and to make sure we can get through all our current headaches, as well as just, taking the moment to tell somebody they're awesome and they're worth it.
You're awesome and you're worth it.
You totally are. All right. Good night, everybody.
Peace.